Hi everybody, nice to see you all again. I hope you're well. Thank you so much for all the comments that were lovely. Obviously there were some unkind comments, but that's YouTube, that's putting yourself out there, into the public domain. You have to learn to get the rough with the smooth, and I am very sensitive and things do kind of eat at me, but you know what? If I'm going on the internet, that's my bad. So I just want to say thank you. I've just heard so many people saying nice things and so many people's stories and the way the world is becoming, and they truly do live, right? I said that in the other video about the movie where the guy finds the glasses, puts them on, and then starts seeing what the agenda is all about. And it's really quite evil if you dig deep. You can get very depressed if you dig deep because, like I said, you start off in the world thinking that, you've got these rose-coloured glasses on, thinking that the world is a place where you can make things happen. But, sooner or later you find out, like I said, particularly if you don't come from money or if you haven't had great education that can propel you into good opportunities, you start to find out that there is a very cruel and wicked agenda, and the world, not only the UK, but generally the world is a not very nice place. It's like there's so many different voices in this world. For years when I was growing up, I was excited, like most young people are, thinking that there were opportunities waiting for me. And I'm not going to lie, they just didn't really come my way because of where I came from, Now, there are exceptions to every rule, and of course, I could have been fortunate, and some people are. So I wouldn't be too doom and gloom in that sense and say you can never get anywhere if you've been in care, or you can never get anywhere if you grew up on a council estate, or you can never get anywhere if you haven't had any great education. There are always exceptions to every rule. So that's my opinion. Like I've often said in lots of my videos, I'm nobody. I started this channel thinking, you know what, maybe I can use YouTube to just fund myself to live, and then travel around the world and then just get income that way, because I'd watched a few people who were doing something like that. It takes a lot of time, right? You've got to sit there, you've got to have content, you've got to have a USP, you've got to be offering something. And I suddenly started to realize very soon that all I have to offer is myself and my own opinions, the truth the way I see it anyway. And that doesn't mean that I'm always right or anything like that. Yeah, so I have been out of work for 3 months, as I mentioned. Well, I don't know if I mentioned it was 3 months, but it was July was my last month. And for reasons that I can't really talk about, I had to leave my previous job, one of them being a relocation of the actual office. But there was more to it than that. But the point is, yes, I needed to lean a little bit more heavily on universal credit. And for that, I don't think that I deserve, or anybody else deserves, to be spoken to anyway, any type of way. So for all the people that did come on saying that I deserve it, basically, I shouldn't have brought 6 children into the world. They noticed I had some rings on my fingers while I was driving. Or what about your rings? What about the car that you're driving, eh? And I'm thinking, my car's 25 years old. And it does a great job for me, and it keeps me dry. I'd never complain. It's just not the right timing to get another car. It costs a lot of money to get another car. Yes, I've been away over the last, if you look on my videos, you'll see that I've been away, and I intend to go away again. The only holiday that I have coming up is something that was already paid for while I was still working, before anyone attacks me. So yeah, I just don't see the need for people to be nasty. I don't know how they can be. I mean, I've seen videos and things that where I'm not convinced, or I think somebody's full of it or whatever, but I just can't seem to find it in myself to go on people's channels and start slagging them off and telling them how many children they're allowed to have, and the fact that they can't drive, or they can't go away, or anything. I just don't know. it really did prove what I was saying about the glasses. You know, they live. The people that are in these types of roles, they are to the core quite horrible. And although they're human beings and they have their chance until their last breath to change, as we get older, we get more set in our ways. So if you're that nasty, or able to be that nasty to somebody when they go through something, or come on people's channels and give you a 2 pence worth, just be really unkind, especially not having the full context. I think it says a lot about who you are. But anyway, that being said, like I said, there were lots of lovely comments, and you can't always just, you know, bask in the glory of all the nice comments, can you? Right? Because you have to understand that people have their opinions, and they're allowed to have their opinions. So I do have a very controversial few things that I want to talk about, but I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm just really checking in with you. We live in a wonderful creation that I believe God made. The people, it is a fallen world, and we're all affected with sin. I'm not going to preach to anybody because I have not been in a good place for the last 3 years. But and even that, you know, even church life, you know, I was always cautious to speak about the world of church, you know, because people are so quick to attack church, you know, and Christians and Jesus. You know, they're so quick, because it's almost like, because of our turn the other cheek sort of, you know, the words of Jesus himself, turning the other cheek, you know. People wipe the floor with Christians and with Christianity, but if you say anything against Islam, God forbid, you know, that's all I can say. I mean, you know, you've seen what happens to people who speak out or say anything, you know. One preacher years ago put it like this. He was actually one of the false preachers, or the preachers that have been, you know, involved in scandals and things like that. But one of those said once, years ago, the church is just like a Holy Ghost hospital. And I know it sounds like hype. Actually, it really is. It's like a place where you can't expect miracles or wonders from the people within, because they're just human beings that are going through traumas of their own, and trying to better themselves, and trying to find God, and trying to be better people. And sometimes in those settings, you will get hurt. You know, I remember when I used to go to church in the beginning, and there were a few Christians that were just, you know, just would switch and do really horrible things, or just gossip, and I think, well, why are people like this in the church? They shouldn't be like that in the church. But they're human beings, of course they're going to be like that in the church. Not all of them have been in the church for very long. Some of them have been 2 minutes, some of them have been 5 years, some of them have been 15 years. But they're human beings, and of course, you know, they're not always the greatest of examples. We can't look to people as examples. We never could, you know, we never should. And that goes for all the other religions as well, by the way. You're like, why can't people just have conversations and be open and be honest? You know, about, for example, a religion that's supposed to be a peace-loving religion, and that's all we keep saying. But the fruit of it, that's what we have before us. But I'm not going to go into that today, because I want to get behind this whole, you know, Rule Britannia thing, where we all go and, like, you know, lynch like immigrants and things like that. I don't want to do that either, you know. Like, I'm not, I maybe you think I'm lukewarm, and I'm not, like, you know, what do they say, laying my flag to the mast? But it's not that. It's that it's the government's fault. The government have done this. They did everything. The whole COVID thing, that they've got an agenda. The cogs are already in motion and have been for a while. And so we can blame the immigrants. We can blame even the Muslims, you know, and we can blame each other. We can blame, like, once upon a time the Jews were blamed, you know, and still sometimes are. But actually, we have to look deeper if we're really going to go down that road. I'm certainly not the type of person to be, you know, going and attacking somebody for being in my country. Get out of my country, you're taking my jobs. Like, what? what? You know, some of these people, like the Eastern Europeans, for example, and stuff, they come to this country and they work damn hard, you know, and some of them take the jobs that the British people won't touch with a barge pole. So I'm not saying anything, and I'm also not saying that about too much about immigrants, because yes, they shouldn't be letting in any more people, of course not, but it's them, it's the government. They're doing it, they're doing it to cause infighting. They're doing it. Look, it's like the same type of people that come on here and say, yeah, you don't deserve anything. You know, you shouldn't get anything. Why should we pay our taxes to pay for your holidays? And I've had some comments like that. Somebody literally went and looked amongst my videos, found me on holiday and went, I paid for this. No, you didn't. I was working when I went. What are you talking about? And I was working when I actually booked my holiday that's coming up. I was still working. Who are you to say that? I don't know who you think you are. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, whatever. It's free. It's a free country, right? Or is it? So my point is, what is my point? I've got several points. I keep darting off. But I'm not here on my channel to promote hate. But I'm equally not here to defend the wicked. And I'm not here to say that we haven't got an issue. We've got such an issue. But it's not... There's so many layers, you know. It's not as simple as let's go and find somebody on the street who's an immigrant and attack them, or, you know, physically, you know, cause them harm. Really? Is it their fault that they are allowed here? Is it their family's fault that they were allowed into this country when we're bursting at the seams? When we've got no good NHS treatments for the people that are already here? Is it their fault? That's all I'm asking. So I'm not here to defend them, but I'm just saying, is it their fault? So let's just change that subject and talk about something else. So it's another day, and I thought I'd cut that, what I was talking about yesterday, because it was getting dark and I was picking one of my sons up. We can revisit that subject, of course we can, because I'd like to, actually, if anybody's got anything they want to say. I mean, I'm not the authority on anything, as I always say. It's just, I just don't like bullying people, and I don't like picking on people. I don't like being picked on or bullied. Back to what I was saying about rose-coloured glasses, about starting this journey, only to realise that in life, who's telling the truth? You know, when I said about there's lots of voices, there really are. It's like I've been classified many times, and I still would be classified as a conspiracy theorist, because I don't believe most things I hear. I often don't watch the news. I don't believe the narrative that I'm being told, that I'm being fed, and yet I'm living in a world that feeds us with this narrative daily. So I feel like, where do you run? Who do you trust? So you get people like saying, for example, I'll just give you something really that just came into my head just then, fluoride. You get the conspiracy people that say fluoride is bad. So, and then you get the general world, that the narrative that fluoride is good for us and we should have it in our toothpaste. So I purposely don't use fluoride toothpastes unless I have to, and sometimes I do, but if I run out of money. But yeah. But then the fluoride toothpaste, like Colgate and all that, they're easier, they're cheaper, and they're easier. But then you wonder to yourself, are they cheaper because they're killing us? Do we have to spend more money to get one that doesn't kill us? Or is that all, are the conspiracy theorists wrong on this? What else? Obviously the whole vaccine thing, I don't want to go into that too much, but because I'll probably be attacked. But yeah, if you start off the conversation in the comments with me, I will definitely engage with it here and there. But I think generally anybody who looks at my channel and knows what kind of person I am probably knows how I feel on that. And I think I'm allowed to have an opinion, or am I not? I'm probably not, actually. So I don't know what to do sometimes, because I'm 53 and I've gone all my life and got to this 53-year-old age of not trusting the very place I live, not trusting the people that are in authority, not trusting the government, not trusting the police, not trusting the NHS staff, because they're fed from the top down with a load of crap. You know, they might say something to you like, take this medication because this is what's good for you, And I wouldn't blame them, because that's what they're told from the top down. That's good for people. And so the nice ones, there are some nice ones left, the nice ones, sorry, this man's going to make a noise outside and it's going to come onto the recording, which is really annoying. But anyway, the nice ones will actually be trying to heal you of your diseases or whatever, and your infections, and they'll be trying to give you this medication, believing wholeheartedly that it's actually good for you and it's going to help you. They don't realize when they're poisoning you with stuff that I believe is there for our, how do I say this? Kill off the population. Did I just say that? Oh my gosh, does this guy really need to do this now? Anyway, yeah, 1 second, let me pause this. Just like the Spanish flu, I believe that, every 100 years or so, there's a bit of a clean out. I'm trying to say that as sort of like really trivial, in a trivial way, but it's not a trivial thing. It's quite scary to know that you live in a world that is full of corruption and is purely quite evil in so many ways. It's a scary thing. So going down these rabbit holes and looking into these things I've looked into before and I've actually come away from looking into, but still have knowledge of, how do you live in a world like that? I feel sorry for the young people. A lot of them, they're born, in this technocracy, I think some people call it, where they've got they pay by phone, and they don't realize, they don't think that there's anything wrong with giving over their details. Yeah, what's wrong? Just put your fingerprint there and put your face there, and yeah, of course you do that, and that's what they're growing in, that's what they've grown up with. But we're in the middle, some of us. I don't know what you call us. Put it in the comments, because my brain's gone blank. Oh yes, something to do with like Gen Z and Gen X, and which one are we again? I've forgotten. Anyway, whatever it is. I'm 53, was born in 1972. What do you call us? But we're in the middle, because we've got this technology now. We're using it. Some of us are able to use it quite well, but yet we still have one foot left in that past where things were nicer, and where it was old school, where you went to the actual library or you didn't, where you had to read a book or you didn't, but you couldn't just type in ChatGPT or Google everything you need to know and think that it's doing you a favor, when in a sense you're using less of your brain, gonna probably develop mental issues because of that. And also, not to mention your eyesight, I need glasses to see, right, when I'm reading. But then I feel like I'm squinting a lot now, and then you look at all these laser surgeries and you think, shall I just put that on a credit card, but maybe I can only afford to get one of my eyes done. Because I'd rather have a cheap holiday on my Avios points or whatever, you know what I mean, which is more important. Anyway, yeah, so anyway, thank you for everybody who's come onto my channel. I am going to talk about some other things, I don't know, controversial. I've got one topic that I really want to discuss from an old article that I found that somebody sent me years ago, and I always want to talk about it, and it's on feminism. Now, I don't know if the feminists will be very angry with me, but I do have not two opinions, but I do look at things from all different angles. Another thing is, some of the people that I actually like or I don't mind, people would probably unfollow me immediately if they knew, because they'd be like, what? But that's how I am. I kind of like, I try to pick the sense out of even nonsense. So even if there's a political figure or somebody that everybody hates, I usually like them for some reason or another, or for something they've said or done, and yet I can still not totally like them. So that's my personality, I don't know. So for example, look, I said to one of my sons the other day, I said, we live in a real crazy world if I actually can agree with a lot of what Andrew Tate says. Unfollow. I can understand you unfollowing me, but honestly, seriously, I don't even like, I know he's immoral, I know he's done some really bad things as a person, but guess what? He speaks a lot of truth. And I mean, he said stuff the other day and I thought to myself, flip, he's so right. I mean, he said the UK's gone to pot for a start, and that's why he got out of here like 10 years ago or something, I don't know, but he was going on to talk about other stuff. But the point is, I actually agreed with everything he said in that particular video. Do I think he's a good guy in his heart deep down? Who is really? But no, probably not. I mean, he's done some questionable things, right? But I'm not in his fan club or anything. I'm just saying, like, lots of stuff he said actually made sense. And I know a lot of people hate him, and a lot of young men follow him to their peril, you know. But because he's actually got this money and they haven't, and a lot of people taking his ideologies and stuff, doesn't mean you're going to end up with the money that he's ended up with, because it's what he did in the beginning to get it. That's the question. Anyway, so that's the kind of person I am. I'm just letting you know, trying to be truthful as always. It's not always good on YouTube, because you can say the truth as long as it agrees with the populace, because when it doesn't, people come for you. And I've seen that in some of the comments. People have come for me, and God forbid if I start talking about what I really think about, you know, certain religions and things like that. If I start to say my opinions, like, you know, I don't know. Anyway, comments in the comments, likes in the likes, subscribe in the subscribe section. And also anybody wants to subscribe to make this channel bigger, and then make other people's maybe sponsor me and promote it, and then make me have other ways of making it a better looking channel or whatever, then please do, when you click subscribe, there's a bell button, and when you drop that bell button down, it says all or alerts or something. I can't remember what it says, but if you click all, then every time I make one of these videos where I'm chatting about stuff, you'll get alerted. You won't otherwise. You just won't, because I'm actually subscribed to lots of channels and I don't get any alerts from them. Then I realize why, and the ones I really want to be subscribed to, I go back in, I click the bell button, and I select all. I also ages ago put a buy me a coffee link on there, and that was because somebody, one of my original followers, said to me, why don't you put this buy me a coffee thing on your channel? Because even if you are not monetized and you can't make money from your channel just now, people can always support you through there. So that's there. And also I've got another channel which I just sing. It was a bit of a midlife crisis channel some years ago. It's where I sing lots of cover songs anyway, because I used to do care home entertaining. Anyway, guys, it's really been nice to see you all. Thank you so much for everything, for all your support. I really appreciate it. I should even thank the nasty people, because actually any traffic is still a visit. You know, thank you even the people who think I'm a idiot. Yeah. And the reason I've left about 2 weeks here is because I've been doing this online course. Oh, I haven't got back to you about that. My online course. I've been doing an online course which will lead to a qualification in security. And after I come back from the holiday that I am going to take, that I paid for when I was still working, just for the people who say they're paying for my holidays, and you know, their taxes pay for everything I have. Yeah, so when I get into a job, I won't have to deal with universal credit anymore, so that'd be nice. But I'm still there for the people that have them to deal with, and that have fallen upon hard times in any way, shape or form, and need to deal with them. It's not easy, is it? They do talk to you like trash, and they talk very loudly, make sure everybody else hears. And apparently anybody on universal credit deserves that. Anyway, over and out. Bye guys, see you next time.